being scared is like being made to laugh. It's an instinctive reaction. When something scary is happening, you just feel it automatically. Hey, Mark. Getting James on board this project was a home run for us. When the screenplay was ready to go out to directors, and we were putting together our list, there was one name that it was the top of everybody's list. New Line, Warner Brothers, mine, and that was James's. He was the only director that we ever went to on this movie.
I wanted to do something I haven't done before, and that is basically deal into the world of, telling a biographic story.
So what are you guys?
Ghost hunters, paranormal researchers.
Kooks. But we prefer to be known simply as Ed and Lorraine Warren.
The crucial aspect for me was the real-life inspiration of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
I could actually pull from a lot of the stories that they've had in the past. They've investigated over 10,000 cases in their lifetime. And so that means, you know, a lot of great materials to pull from.
James is able to elevate the level of the genre to a point where you don't necessarily need the blood, you don't need the guts to scare people.
That's actually drawing her into the room, talking to her.
Okay.
His artistry is off the charts. You know, his visual sense, his production design sense, his eye for the camera. He gets the rhythm.
It's less about making cheap scares. It's more about where do you put the camera, how do you frame it, how do you use empty spaces to build suspense with.
I want it to feel very real. I always, when I create these scenes, I want to put you, the audience, in there with the family. So one of the tricks I do a lot of is if a character's walking down a hallway, I would always have the camera be behind the character, following the character down the hallway. So you're there with them, you're walking with them, and so you don't know what's in front of them.
Yeah, maybe the camera picks something up.
Cool.
And you can see it in the actors that they respond to that they understand what he's trying to get, not only just performance-wise, but also by moving the camera in certain ways to build up the suspense and build up the scares.
Sometimes you find in these kind of movies you write too many scares because you think, oh, it's just got to be scare after scare. You can't do that. You got to just build, slow it down, and then build the tension.
That's one thing that James said. His first read, he says, he goes,
I love all these scares. There's just too many.
He goes, we got to pull some of these out, and we're like, well, this is a horror movie, James. and he goes, we have to build the tension. We're going to build more tension between the scares. He goes, trust me.
Yeah, he was spot on.
My approach for the scares and the suspense sequences in this film are definitely much more grounded. I tried to put into the film, you know, things that happened to the family, you know, things that they would see, that they would experience in this house, you know, a rocking chair on its own, like a creaking door. Those are classic haunted house horror movie tropes, but there's a reason why they're there, because when they work, they're so effective.
Anna?
I've always said what makes scary movies work is not so much the visual, it's the sound. It's what you think you see through the sound design that is the most important thing. Come around, just that's exactly what you're doing. We'll cut as we go along.
There's a difference in wanting to scare an audience and wanting to trick an audience. James is one of those people that never want to trick an audience. It's not about fooling them into thinking this is something different. He loves to scare you, but he's just not going to trick you.
And to me, why I think the haunted house subgenre or the haunting genre is so endearing is it takes place in a world that we all understand, which is, you know, it takes place in our home. You know, what has been fantastic for me on this film, for me to realize my vision, we literally built this 2-story house inside a stage. And that was amazing, you know, just like seeing how quickly it came together and how, you know, we would talk about and how she, like Julie would find ways to accommodate how I want to shoot my sequences.
Main driving force is like, I need to achieve what the script had and what James wants, his vision.
We realized very much what we've been saying about how James frames a shot and what he needs out of each scene is that doorways had to be in an exact spot to make the scare work, and hallways needed to be a certain length and a certain darkness to be able to kind of have things come out of them and make them scary.
The details were so fantastic, so I just love when a production designer is on that level. I just love when they've just filled in every little, they filled the canvas in.
For me, I take all their stories and I try to filter it through myself. I try to think of it, through my own head, going, okay, what scares me? When I first read the script, the more I started designing that end sequence, I realized, wow, that could be a really cool, iconic moment for the film. I kind of didn't want to show her face when she was transforming into like this scary person. And so the way to do that was, we had Lily's character attacking Brad, the cop character, and biting him in the face. And in doing so, that allowed me to muzzle her with a sheet across her and basically spend the rest of the exorcism with her underneath this white sheet, wrap around this white sheet tied to a chair. And then, for that moment where she starts coughing and hacking out blood. She coughs up the blood, but because the sheet's in front of her face, the blood sprays onto the inside of the sheet, and so it adds this extra, really sort of gritty layer to it, to what's going on. And I think it just makes it really creepy.
Omne phantasma, omnis legio in nomine Domine nostri Jesu.
The key is to, make a scary film that has a lasting impact and that affects people way after the film is over.